Good morning, everybody. We'd like to welcome to the 108th episode of Wayne's World and Kelly with our special guest. Would you like to introduce her, Wayne, or you want me to do it? Come on.
You can actually go ahead because we're gonna have a good time talking to Stacy. So go ahead, do the intro, dude.
Well, you just said it was Stacy. Why did you do that? You told me I could do it, and you said it was Stacy. Unbelievable. See, what we need is more direction on this show. Maybe a plan, maybe a map. I don't know.
Everybody, I want to welcome Stacy Ekholm. She's the Chief Operating Officer for a $200 million construction and real estate company based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Welcome to the show, Stacy. How are you?
Thanks, Wayne. Thanks, Kelly. I'm great. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here with you guys and hang out for a bit.
Definitely.
Let's talk about the important thing right off the bat. What is the temperature up there right now?
Well, we had some pretty nasty storms roll through yesterday. So we're about 63, but we hit our highest temperature for the season here yesterday. I think it was in the 90s, but it was rough. It was a rough day around here, but we're good.
I was up there for a month. I was up there for a month. That was actually a week after y'all hosted the Super Bowl, 7, 8 years ago. And it was 0 degrees. And so I go up there, and I've never been there, except for that one visit, and I'm not really looking to return. I was going to go visit Wayne, but he moved down here. But I was shocked that I was at this training event, right? It was a brilliant event that I went to. A lot of people from around the country, then a lot of people that were from there. And the number one topic of conversation every day was weather. And I'm like, guys, it's miserably cold up here all the time. Can't you talk about anything else? But it was all about the weather. So I thought it was appropriate to ask you the temperature, which I don't know if you knew this, but when it gets down in the 60s in South Florida, we open up the schools and we call them shelters. So
well, it'll snow next week. So just, if we connect next week again, I'm sure I'll be shoveling something. But for now, well, I shovel something probably every day, but for now it's decent.
I was thinking that's more like Wayne's always, he's shoveling that sales stuff that he does.
No, not really anymore. Speaking about sales and introductions and relationships, Stacy, I met you in the beginning of my career, well over 20 years ago. You had started in a career of property management, and now are the not the chief executive officer, the COO, chief operating officer for
the one that actually works.
Yeah. Take us back in the beginning of starting out in property management, becoming a regional, but then making the transition over into the C-suite, and especially as a woman in construction, something we'd like to talk about as we get into this show. But take us in the beginning and how that laid the groundwork for where you're at right now as a trailblazer in the industry.
Yeah, well, thanks for dating me, Wayne, first of all. But I thought about that this morning. That I was trying to remember when we first connected, and yeah, I realized it was over 20 years ago, which is crazy now. But originally, I went to school or wanted to be an architect, and so I had always loved housing. And in high school, I was taking classes for design and structural engineering, and then was about to go to college and go off to college, was accepted into college. And then when they put the piece of paper in front of me telling me how much I was going to be paying in student loans, I had a minor cardiac arrest probably, and wasn't really prepared for that. So then I, at the last minute, decided not to go, which is probably not the best way to start things out for anybody. And instead, pivoted and got my real estate license. And so at 18 years old, I started selling houses, and because I've always loved housing. And, of course, they always try to they recruit realtors with this, flashy lifestyle, especially now. Like you watch like Selling New York or Selling Sunset, and they've got designer bags and perfect hair and lip injections. And back then it wasn't that extreme. And I'm like,
I love those shows.
I know. They don't show you the real work that goes in, but
right.
Nights and weekends and no money, 18 years old, sold a couple houses, realized I needed to supplement my real estate career And so pivoted again and got into leasing and property management, which then quickly sucked me into the industry, as it tends to happen. Sales, like, realized I was pretty good at it. I was crushing it on the commissions and the rentals. Right away had people in my career understand that I could do more and learn more. And so they mentored me and moved me up fairly quickly into, I was a property manager at 21 out of a 264 unit apartment complex here in Minnesota. And then was a regional when I met Wayne in my early 20s for the first time. And so it was, I had a lot of really great mentors and people along the way that, realized that I could quickly learn, that I was, even though I didn't go to college, and this is advice that I give everybody, is you don't need to know everything, but you have to be willing to work hard, and you have to be willing to learn in order to keep growing and succeeding in any role. So that's a long-winded version of it.
Right, but I mean, quite the difference in getting the experience that you had on the property management side. Now you've transitioned over into the world of contracting. So that's a world that Kelly and I are involved in. One organization we recently joined is Women Empowering Women in Development. And I've met some folks, one in particular, they host a podcast called Women in Construction. Okay. How important is it for everybody to continue to support strong women, make everybody welcome and understanding that this is a world that's big enough for all of us? And are there some key things that you can point to along the way in your journey as you've transitioned over into the contracting world, because it's quite the different world in the property management world?
Absolutely. So as you said earlier, Wayne, so Norhart is we're a vertically integrated company. And when I say vertically integrated, a lot of people brag about that, but they may do one section of the business. And we have everything from structural engineers to, we do our own precast concrete. I'm actually sitting at our Oakdale building, which you got to tour, which is a $100 million, 465,000 square foot, 7-story cold form steel over retail, and has apartments. But it's, we do everything. And fortunately, Mike Kading, our CEO, really encourages, he wants to hire the best of the best. And and we have a lot of women within our organization, including our architectural designers. Our chief construction officer, Marie Dickover, is also a woman. And so she and I and our architecture, design, and construction team work hand in hand together for all of our buildings and our real estate developments and things going forward. I think it's really important that we continue to support women in construction because, first of all, we all know that the skilled trades it's a challenging situation right now. Like, we have less and less people that are wanting to, swing a hammer or get involved. And, the more that we can promote women in construction, especially, like, I think you're going to see a more diverse workforce, and we're going to learn more and be able to do more based by encouraging more women to join the construction industry.
Has there been any obstacles that have been put in your path based on what you have seen, and how have you overcome them, whether it's in the property management industry or whether it's on the contracting side? If there have been, tell us some of them and what you've done to overcome them. Because as long as I've known you, everybody talks about women have to go through the glass ceiling. Well, I don't even think you've ever taken that into consideration. I don't even think it's been there for you. If it has been, you just bust through it.
Thank you. It has, as we've mentioned a couple times, that through the decades of knowing each other, there's a long way for the world to go, but I'm really proud of how we continue to evolve and move forward and see the relevance of women in leadership roles and in construction throughout my career. I've ran into it a couple times. I will always go back to, it's all about relationships and who you know. And so I've always tried to surround myself with great mentors and smart people. And when I've run into challenging situations where I may have been pushed up against somebody who I probably felt maybe didn't respect me as much, and not so much because of my gender, but throughout my career for my age, I really just tried to surround myself with people that knew the answers and could help me either personally or professionally to get through to that next level. And if I didn't know something that I needed to know, like for example, we want to build a building that's over 7 stories with cold form steel, I would go to the right person. Like if I wanted to know about roofing, I would go to you, Wayne. Like you just always need to know that you don't need to know all the answers, but you need to know somebody who knows those answers and not be afraid to reach out and ask somebody for help.
So Kelly and I want you to move to Florida. Kelly, make your sales pitch to get Stacy here.
On my list.
Can you see my tan? It's on the what?
It's on the 5-year plan. It's on the 5-year plan to move somewhere warmer.
So is that the 4th? Are you in the 4th year of that 5-year plan?
No.
Listen, we're open for business in South Florida.
I love it. Love it.
It's interesting because I know a lot of the country is struggling with a lot of stuff. And trust me, we have our own issues here. Sunblock versus no sunblock and all kinds of other issues. But I'm anti-sunblock and it's kind of an inside joke. But anyway, I guess y'all don't even, sunblock is when you have the sun and it gets warm, people put it on their skin to protect themselves from burning.
I would know.
That's right. I'm like, that's like, why would I know anything about, downfill jackets? I heard about them. I've studied them.
I will be sending you one.
Well, when it gets like in below 75 here, I laughed at people when I moved here because like, you see people wearing jackets and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, what are they doing? I'm like wearing a t-shirt and sweating. And then your body does acclimate. And that really has nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's although I just want to prepare you for the transition. Because at first you'll come down and you'll say, silly people, it's 65. Why are you freaking out? And then 2 years later, after you're here and you're settled and your business is thriving, you're going to say, I'm a little chilly. Where's those jackets that I donated? But and we're all about Florida. We don't really care about the rest of the country. We think everybody should move here and be happy and thrive. We did not close for COVID, except for like 5 minutes.
I love that. Yes, that was fantastic.
I
did go to Wisconsin for that. Wisconsin didn't close either, so I would just go across the border and enjoy time in Wisconsin.
Yes, words I've never heard out of somebody's mouth.
No, I'm actually going to. I'm going to support her. Wisconsin's my home state, man. Wisconsin is a fun state. I grew up in Eau Claire, and yes. I moved to Minnesota to go to college. But I always say with pride, man, I am from Wisconsin because as divided as this country is, I think pretty much everybody agrees that Wisconsin it's kind of an outlier state. It's fun. It's not pigeonholed into anything other than drinking and having a good time, man.
It's a little cheesy there.
Oh, maybe that's why I liked Wayne so much.
So, Stacy, you've managed to kind of pluck every award that you can. So numerous, we won't even go into them. But you still have the gift of being young and still trailblazing in your career. What's next? Where do you keep going? Where do you keep leading? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So what's next for me? Well, I hope just the biggest thing for me is about legacy. And so I'm always trying to, recruit and train the next generation of women and leaders in this business. I've been really involved in the Minnesota Multi-Housing Association and doing sessions for them and budget sessions and working with the next generation of who's going to come in. I'm really proud. My daughter actually, she just turned 21. She works for another large company here in Minnesota. She is going to college. I'm making sure she goes to college, but she's for development and to get into, you know, building and in construction and property management as well too. So she's working full-time and going to school full-time and paying cash for it. So she had, you know, someone to lead her along that path. But really for me, that's what it's all about, but looking to see, you know, how we can continue to innovate, building and construction and property management in general. And I always try to, you know, Jeff Bezos is like, his big thing with Amazon is like, what are people going to need in 7 years? And so I try to ask myself that all the time, like what happens 7 years from now? And what are people really going to need 7 years from now? And trying to pivot myself and my organization so that we take that into consideration and we start moving in that direction.
You know where Jeff
so
lives?
Back when
What's that?
You know where Jeff lives?
Oh, Claire?
I don't.
No, he lives right down the street.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
He relocated. I think he's bought 3 houses in Miami in the last year. I'm not exactly, I don't know if that's, you know, if he's having relationship issues with his fiance or what, but he's bought 3 really big houses.
That's a great place to hang out.
Yeah, well, you know, everyone's coming here, and he's it's amazing for such a well-known name and a well-known company. But a lot of people don't know a lot about him. Maybe they don't want to, but Jeff is actually from Miami and grew up in Miami. Then he relocated to the West Coast, but then in the last year or so, he's relocated back to South Florida. So everyone's doing
a great place.
So it's like, where do you want to be in the next 7 years? Well, 7 years ago or 8 years ago, Jeff said, I want to be in South Florida.
See?
It's just,
I'll be in Florida.
It's a theme.
So 20 some years ago, you know, when I had met you, and now you fast forward to 2024 where we're at, what are some of the biggest things that you've noticed that have made your job easier as far as from a technological point of view? And then what are you looking at in the future for the company that you're at, and how that can all work into our favor, because there's so many things moving quickly. What are you seeing that's helping you out on the technological side?
I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a technological trend, but we were doing centralization before that was a buzzword, like before centralization was cool. And so we have, you know, instead of old school mindset before COVID even happened of people having to be in office spaces and thinking about like somebody pushing paper, sitting in an office somewhere, we were already like having people elsewhere do that. And I think to continue to move in that direction, you still need bodies and people on the ground and people doing the physical work. But I think realizing if you can get efficient at the administrative process behind any business, that takes less stress off the people that are doing the work and boots on the ground. And I think anybody, and I know you're seeing a lot of companies that are starting to go backwards and moving away from remote work or hybrid work and really pushing to have people back in the office, which I understand. And we need to have, you know, there's some fiscal responsibility behind that as well too. But at the same time, there are still opportunities where you can take that administrative burden off your teams. And then that the on-site people have more time to focus on what's important, you know? And so why have people sitting in an office when you can have them out on the job site or out on your property and doing the things that they need to do there? I also think in just old school, from a technology standpoint, is like, how can we continue to focus on making sure that our teams are well rested and, you know, have the opportunity to take time and get the rest they need so that they can come back and work stronger and faster and harder and want to do a good job for you. I think embracing technology is great, but also understanding that at some point people have limits and they need to step back away from the technology and spend time in nature and be outside. And I don't like nature personally. Like nature for me is like sitting by my pool, but still just getting away from the screen and, getting away from their phone. Yes,
Okay.
I have a pool,
Explain.
a skating
Okay.
rink.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, is it an outdoor pool?
Yes, it's an outdoor pool.
When do
They
you
do have
open
those
it
in
and when do you
Minnesota.
close it? I find this fascinating. I didn't even think they had pools up north of Georgia.
Come on, dude.
We keep, well, our property wise, we keep them open as long as we can. So usually almost till November, Kelly, actually. You would probably get hypothermia if you jump in, but they look pretty and you can sit by them.
But so what actually from getting in the pool, what are is it 2 months?
That you're in the pool? Oh, no. Starting May to October. So 5 months. You just got to heat it.
Wow. Okay. Oh, okay. Ah, there's the key. The old thermal. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I just, I love everything you said, but that one really got me. Like, yeah, pools up there. I find it amazing that one of the largest companies in the country, probably and they're actually international, property management and a bunch of other things. The guy started out as a pool company in Canada.
Yeah.
Well, who is it, dude?
First Service.
Okay. Stacy, you
He
said
originally
something
was
that
building pools in Canada. I'm like going, it's buying a pool in Canada, but I guess he also had the heater feature.
You need to get out more, Kelly. That's what I'm learning from this conversation.
I like it here. I live where everybody vacations, so
I am jealous of that. I am jealous.
yeah, and that's our big draw. It's where I really should get a bumper sticker that says that, but I noticed like with Wayne, he concentrates on women and women doing his business. And in our company, I don't know, it's because I actually grew up in DC, and then I actually was one that went to where I vacationed to live. But even in the DC market, we didn't really have a big thing about somebody's gender or age. They were really big on education for a long time, which I thought was kind of funny. And I love your story because there's several ways to do it. And my business partner got a master's in architecture, undergrad in psychology. The guy's brilliant in construction. And we used to have a guy that worked for us that was very impressive. And he had a GED. Mm-hmm. And both of them are extremely qualified in project management and owner representation, but two different ways to get to the same place. I think that yours and my non-partners technique was I think everybody, a lot of it is just how you go at it, and your attitude is fantastic on. If I don't know something, I find the people that do, and you seek it. You just don't sit in the corner and expect everything brought to you. And that's part of the grind. But it's interesting. So you're sending your daughter to college, or she's putting herself, however it's working out. Do you think that opens any doors in 2024 versus 2020?
For her to go to college, I don't think that it's necessarily going to open more doors for her. She also has a very strong work ethic, which I appreciate. She's grown up in the business. She's obviously listened through the years, been out on my job sites, out on my properties her whole life. She was a summer helper at one of the other local companies here when she was in high school. So she, was cleaning air conditioners with the best of them. For me, I think back and I don't necessarily encourage people to not go to college. I just think in today's day and age, especially, there's a smarter way to go about it so that you're not setting yourself up for, 6-figure student loan debt or not. And then thinking about your return on your investment. And she actually had planned to go to school for criminology, and she was going to go to Stout, Wayne.
Yeah.
Let's go Wisconsin. she was all set to go to Stout. She was going to take their criminology program, and then she realized, you know, the expense behind that. And she started looking at what her starting salary would be over, you know, the next 4 years. And then she started asking me what I make. And then she's like,
what did you tell her?
Well, she knows what I make. She lives a pretty good life. Like, come on, guys. And then she, so, you know, we saved for her to go to school as well too, but not, you know, not 6-figure school. And she had said too, like, I don't want to spend all of my savings on college. And I said, you don't have to, but you're going to school. If you don't go to school, I'm taking my money back. My money that I've contributed towards this. It's
I
mine.
love it.
Yeah.
Great.
And so
Good for
if
you.
I didn't do a 529. It just, you know, you can do it, but do it wisely. And so she did 2 years at community college to get her generals under her belt. And now she's, you know, going to state school, Metro State. And she is continuing on with her, you know, business administration degree. She's on her 3rd year. And again, working full time. She just got promoted at her property with a large company. It can be done. So not only is she paying cash for school along the way, she's going to graduate with 6 figures in her savings account because she is just banking everything. She lives at home, which is not for everyone, but living at home, working full time, going to school full time. And what I say to her all the time is she's going to have not only the benefit and the experience of growing up in the industry, but I think about, like, if I would have went to school, I think and to learn what I learned, it probably would have been a lot quicker and in a more condensed time. And who knows where I would be at this point. I don't know. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, but it for her though, I think she has the benefit of both going to school and learning that you will never beat hard work and work ethic, and you will never beat having relationships in this industry. And she knows that as well too. She's like, everyone knows you. I'm like, well, I hope so, and I hope it's a good reason. But
right.
So it's exciting for her. So yeah.
Well, listen. So we're doing soon. We're going to have a 3rd and 4th generation elevator company, who all of them are women. Will be coming on the show, and I think we need to book you guys, you and your daughter.
Yeah,
I think that would be fantastic.
That's a great idea.
Because first of all, I already love your daughter. I'm already very inspired by her. I have a very successful daughter as well, so I can relate. But I love the questions and the attitude and the direction she's going, and it's almost like she's definitely doing a smart hybrid. You know, working and going to school versus just going to school and partying like Wayne did.
Yep.
You know, there's a big difference.
Yep. So one final question, and then because of time limits, we got to jump. But Stacy, this is one question I've never asked you before. When you had started your career, would you say that it was under maybe the category of what I call STP, something to prove? Was it a directional plan that you had put into place? Was it about maximizing your potential? Was it about all of them mashed together, or something different to where you're at today?
When I started mine, it started from that, that love of housing and construction and design. Okay. Like, I still to this day, and I'm still super passionate about it. Like, to see something that starts as just an idea or a thought, and then you have to bring, as I was saying, is like construction is like an orchestra, and you need everybody playing for the same symphony. And it takes so many people to get involved to make these amazing buildings in their homes for people, right? Their homes. And so for me, it's just that passion of seeing like what we can all do collectively together and leaving that legacy. So I love driving around the cities and saying like, hey, you see that building right there? Like, I was the one who said, no, we probably need to, change the front facade to this, or really we need to add walk-in showers here. And so long after I am gone, like, these buildings and these structures are still going to stand. And it's because I had some sort of input into them.
Wow. That so cool. Is, yeah. Go ahead,
Stacy. I don't know if you know this, but here's the logo of my company.
I did not know that. I did not know that. I had no clue.
That is cool.
If you'll notice, It's got a hard hat too. See that? So
I do.
But,
I was gonna wear my pink hard hat with the crown on it for you guys, but I didn't want to. I washed my hair for you.
Wayne's got one too. Wayne's got one just like that.
When I was on site with Stacy, she was giving me the tour of, I'm sorry, what's the name of the big place that we just recently?
Norhart Oakdale.
Yeah, and to go around with you, you're wearing the hard hat, you're making things happen. You're going into, you know, every phase of the construction that was going on at the time. You know, just being the lady boss that you are, making stuff happen. I got to tell you, for as long as I've ever been around you, man, that was one of my proudest moments for you.
Thanks.
You know, so like to Kelly's point, we would love to have you and your daughter on in the future. We're also going to be doing a show that's going to profile a baby boomer, a millennial, a Gen X, and a Gen Z. So we got 4 generations in the workforce right now, and we're going to hack it out, and we're going to dispel a lot of rumors, bad press that every generation has always had, and say that's just a bunch of BS, because here we are right now, and we're going to talk about it. And like everything else in this country, it's sensationalized, and you don't believe it. You got to judge by the person in front of you, not the generation that they belong to. Correct?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Hey, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it, Stacy. And I'll be seeing you and talking to you real soon. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye.